What's up, cultivators? We are here with another small business right before they make it big. I'm here with
CJ Morgan.
How are you doing today? Tell us a little bit about what you do.
I'm doing wonderful. I am a singer, songwriter, preacher, mentor, friend, father, husband, child of God.
Amen to that. So can you take us back to where it all started for you? And what was your first vocation?
Oh, man. It all started on Sunday morning at church. Like literally, I was born on a Sunday morning, normally where my parents would be at church because they both are pastors. Literally, my day started on a Sunday, and I just remember growing up, finding passion in ministry. Ministry was my start. Didn't really take it serious as I did now in life. When in early ministry, I knew God had a call on my life, but it was one of those things like, all right, cool. It's just something I got to do because daddy is a preacher. You know, mama plays the keyboard. You know, my sister and them sing. I'm the drummer.
Don't have a choice at this point.
Yeah. So like no choices. I just got to do it. I even tried to do the whole thing with living in before my parents in the church and then still doing my own thing on the side, getting involved with gangs, you know, doing my own little thing. That literally started to where I started realizing that, hey, this can't be something that is beneficial to me. You know, living one way on Sunday morning and then living another way on the rest of the days of the week. I don't ever want to be a phony or a fraud, but I have to come to the realization that, hey, I need to do something. I need to be real. A lot of people struggle with being real, and I had literally approached the season in my life where I just wanted to be real. From going to high school, hanging out with friends and stuff like that, you know, trying to live up to the status quo of how normal teens should be. I struggled with that because, well, I wanted to be just like the kids at school, but daddy and them wanted me to be this young person that's on fire for God. And I was like, hey, God, you know, I want to be in a band, so you got to take a back seat. You know, I want to go out and hang out with my friends, so you got to take a back seat. And it wasn't until I realized that how much I needed God not to take the back seat, and I need him to take the wheel. So that was my start, like living life in a position to where God was always in the forefront. It's where I really needed to be at that time. I realize it now, and I love it now. Ministry has been awesome. It's just what I love to do.
That's amazing. Was there a specific moment where it just tipped over and you just confronted it immediately?
Oh, man. Yes. When I found out that I was going to have my first daughter. Yeah. And that's when I realized that, hey, I cannot live the street life no more. You know, trying to sell drugs, trying to hang out with friends and stuff like that. You know, I needed to get a job. I needed to work. You know, even though I was on the up and up with school, you know, graduating super early. I graduated as a sophomore.
Man.
On my way to college, I went to Texas Southern University, and I was enjoying myself and wind up, you know, getting someone pregnant. And it just hit me. You know, it's time for me to grow up. It's time for me to get a handle on, because I can't take care of a child out here doing what I want to do, how I want to do it. And secondly, I don't want to be out here trying to live this street life. And my daughter get, you know, the idea that, hey, daddy's not here, or daddy's not here because he's locked up. Daddy's not here because he died trying to sell drugs or trying to do this. So that literally what pivoted me to be a better me.
Does that influence your brand at all?
It does. I'm a very, very big family person. So like everything I do, I literally do with my family being in mind. With my wife, my son, my daughters, like literally they are my world. They keep me motivated. They keep me going, because not only do I want them to look at me as someone doing what God is asking him to do, but I want to look at them as, I want them to look at me as, you know what, hey, it's my dad. My dad's my hero. Like my son literally blows my mind because he used to always just run around, hey, that's my dad. Like, that's my dad. And this is my stepson. Like, but to him, you know, I don't do the whole stepson thing, but to him, it's like, that's my dad. That's my dad. My dad does this. My dad does that. And it used to always blow my mind. Because like when he used to introduce me to his friends, he would literally go down and run down the list. Like, hey, my dad's this. My dad's this. My dad's this. And I'm like, it puts pride in you, but then it puts the thought in you, how can I continue to be a person that he can look up to, a person that can inspire him, a person that he can say, you know what, I want to be like him. Even though in my mind I'm saying I want you to be better than me, knowing that he looks at me as someone that is this amazing person that does it all for me.
I bet. Man, is there any non-negotiables with your brand that you won't put up with if it's a certain way, or certain standards and values that you just won't cross?
My integrity. I won't let things come to the point to where it literally tarnishes my integrity and my relationship with God. You know, if it's something that says, you know what, hey, well, you can't be on this platform because you are worshipable. Well, that's fine with me. I take my worship somewhere else. You know, you can't be on this platform because you're a Jesus freak. Okay, I'm gonna take my Jesus freaking somewhere else. You know, that's where I draw the line. Like, I'm not going to set my God aside for fortune and fame. Like, if God was there when I didn't have, God's going to be there when I have. You know, even if the projects don't produce like I want them to produce, God still produces.
And you reap what you sow, right?
Yeah.
It takes work regardless.
Yeah. So like, you know, we really don't realize that, because how many times have we abused our relationship with God? Like, hey, I'm only going to pray when I need something. I'm only going to call on you when I need something. I don't ever want that to be like, well, God, I'm going to give you my best. If everybody else wants me to be, you know, a certain way, you know, I'm still going to give you my best. So, yeah, that's one standard that I really stand on. Like, I keep my integrity in my relationship with God. Keep it serious.
That's amazing. So how do you go from, you know, living the college life, having a great time, getting the bag however you need to the flip towards music, being a writer, being a poet? When that switch happened?
All right, so the music has always been there. I started playing drums at 4 years old. And from the drums, I started playing the bass guitar in high school. The funny story about that is my dad played the bass. And when he would go to work, I used to play the bass, sneak in the room, play the bass and stuff like that. So I started like literally taking the bass to school. And one day, one of the strings broke. And he was like, hey, what happened to my bass guitar? And I was like, I took it to school. And that's when I told him that, you know, hey, I've been playing the bass in a jazz band at school. And from there, I got on the keyboard. My mom, she was the keyboard player for the church, but we got tired of singing the old 100s and all of this stuff. And, and it was like, you know what, I can't do this no more. So I actually started learning how to play the keyboard off of YouTube. I think I played 2 songs. I played those 2 songs for maybe like 4 or 5 months until everybody started getting tired of.
Yeah.
But it literally kind of just gave me that development phase. Like, hey, all right, cool. They let me be comfortable in my zone. And so I literally got to the point so I felt confident enough to step out and learning new stuff. So then I opened the door to writing songs. And it literally went from 0 to 100 real fast. I wrote a song called Just Praise. It was literally just my testimony, how what I was going through was not going to be the thing that held me. You know, when storms are raging and life is hard, I just got to praise. I just got to worship. I just got to love on God, you know, show him why I feel the way I feel about him. And from there, it just like kept growing. Never did I know that I was going to do a gospel song, you know, or never did I know that I was going to start preaching and ministering and stuff like that. It wasn't me. Yeah, I was not the one that oh, I want to be in front of the church all the time. Nah, you know, I'm fine playing in the background. I do not mind being in the background. But sometimes literally God will pick on you and to pick you out. So music went from being something I was required to do on Sunday morning to being actually a passion of mine with writing songs and recording songs.
That's amazing, because it almost sounds like you're born with the want to do music. Because you went out of your way to go grab the bass and see if you could do something. You went out of your way to do the keyboard. Is there a specific passion or a burning feel for the artistry that's just naturally in you?
Yes. It's like a fire, you know, like something that I never want to go out. Even though I've literally had to go through certain things to where I had to sit my music aside, and it would hurt. Like once I realized that I had to sit stuff aside, and I realized the pain that it caused me to sit music aside. Like we were talking about the stroke.
Yeah.
When I had the stroke, I literally had lost the ability to play. And in my mind, to me, you know, sitting God aside, in my mind to me was, oh, that's the end of my world. That's the end of my being. I can't do anything else. If I'm not on this keyboard, if I'm not singing, stuff like that, I can't do anything else. And God literally had to use that to remind me that, hey, you still have purpose. You still have value, whether you're on the keyboard or not. And I fought my way back to playing. I kid you not, man. This is a true story. I went into the hospital on a Friday night, had stroke. Got out Saturday morning, went to another hospital because the first hospital said, well, it wasn't nothing wrong. We didn't see anything on the CAT scans. Went to another hospital, and they admitted me, and they ran the test, and they said that, hey, you suffered a serious stroke. Stayed in the hospital for a week. And in that week's time, I went from not having ability to use my right side to 2 days later, I'm writing again. I'm sitting up having full conversations with the doctor like nothing ever happened. And I recovered that fast. But fast track, a year later, I had another stroke. When I say a year later to the date of the first one.
Wow.
And this is where I really just started, I started losing it because, I couldn't play. I couldn't do anything.
How long?
Man. It got so bad. I was at a church as their minister of music for 14 years. I walked away from being their minister of music and playing because I couldn't do it. Not at the quality that I was used to doing it as. Not at the level that I wanted to do it. I felt like I wasn't good enough.
Especially after 14 years, you set a standard.
And that right there, those few things really helped me and said that, I do not want to live without music. Not only live without music, but not live without doing the God music that I, want to do. The music that God literally purposed me for.
That's amazing. So with people that are in the same industry or ministers like yourself, how do you stand out in the crowd?
Oh, man. That's funny because I stand out already because my sides, literally, how many preachers do you know that have gauges?
No, naturally. I don't know. You're the first.
So it's the looks that I get when I go to minister at places, they were like, oh, man, we thought he was some random off the street, but look, he has this on the inside of him. Look, when he sings, he has this on the inside of him. Oh man, that right there, it amazes me. God will use the most awkward people to deliver his messages through, and I feel like that was me. That is how I am.
That's amazing. So you gotta tell me, I grew up in a church. And I'm actually from South Africa, so things are a lot more traditional back there, right?
Yeah.
So in my head, I'm like, gauges, your dad's a pastor. How was his reaction with the gauges, or what was the process for that?
Gauges are recent. I've been stretching now for 3 years. when they all first saw him, they was like, "What are you doing to your ears?" And I was like, "Hey, man, it's something that I always found like really cool." And so I said, I'm going to do it. My wife, she actually has them. So I was like, hey, I may try this. I wound up getting an ear infection. Well, not actually in the ear, but one of my piercing had got infected, and it left like a hole. So she had came up with the idea, well, you might as well, go and stretch your ears out because it's already at the point where it can stretch. So I was like,
I mean, you're already there, right?
We're already here, so let's just do it. So I wound up getting a little kit, and I started stretching. I stretched a whole lot faster than normal people would. I think I got to this right now. I'm at 5'8". I got here within a matter of a year and a half.
Oh wow!
Which takes people some time to do. My wife tell me I have the perfect lobes for stretching. So it was like being not like the rest. Like I want to be seen different. I want people to see that God can use you no matter what you look like. I preached a sermon one time, and I was talking about a pair of jeans that I had bought. And on the tag of the jeans, it said, these jeans have intentional flaws. And that literally blew my mind, because how many of us are walking around with intentional flaws that we feel like are not good? But God was like, I made you intentionally this way because I wanted to get the glory out of you. So I was walking around and I was like, all right, cool, God, I get it. You designed me to have hiccups. You designed me to have certain flaws. You designed me to go through certain things. And it's not for anything, for a bad reason, but it was so you can get the glory out of my life. So you can allow people to see me and see that, hey, because you're different, God can still love you. God can still be there for you. Just because you're different doesn't mean that you're an outcast. Just because we don't speak the same language doesn't mean that God loves you less than he loves me. And I really advocate for that, because like people really make people feel real crappy. Like being in the black church, if you don't have the 3-piece suits on and you don't pray in tongue and you don't do this and you don't do that, they look at you a certain way. Like, oh, well, hey, you don't fit in here. Yeah, I don't want to be in the Jesus culture that fits in. Jesus didn't fit in. Like literally, everywhere he went, he stuck out. They noticed him. They seen, oh, well, hey, that's Jesus.
Cities we're talking about.
Yes, like I want to be that person to where I don't fit in. I don't know if you ever did them, like the Where's Waldo. Like, you get the little thing on there, you got to find Waldo. I don't want to be that person where it's so hard that you got to find Jesus. And no, let Jesus literally just sit on me through my life.
Wow. So we were talking about your book earlier. And now that you mentioned this, it almost sounds like once you fully accept yourself, you can finally position yourself correctly.
Yes.
And I'm guessing that's the big difference you're trying to go with and the big difference you're trying to push. Yes. Tell us about the book.
All right, so the book is Positioned with Purpose. This is my first actual release. Mm-hmm. Man, it's a wonderful journey that literally God took me on with myself. Struggling with identity. Who am I? Because I don't, have the following like everybody else. Or so it's so many things that literally makes us disqualify ourselves. And God was like, no, I just need you to be in the right spot. I need you to be there at the right time. I need you to literally be operating in obedience, so that way I can do some things. So it literally took me to the point where I had to realize, all right, hey, what are the areas in my life that are not lining up correctly? What are the areas in my life that are not aligning with what God initially created me for? So I started going through, like I said, I was literally just writing a thing to try to put on the Bible apps, just a 3-day Bible course.
So I don't have the Bible app, so you're going to have to break it down for me. So cause back when I was in the church all the time, the Bible app was just a Bible app. You just had Bible verses, nothing else.
Right. So the Bible app now has literally evolved into this literally hub of something you can do every day. It tracks your reading. It tracks all of the stuff that you want to learn, the stuff that you're trying to remember. It gives you different outlets. It connects you with people that do things in ministry that are all over the world. Some of the people that may be struggling with the same thing you're struggling with, you can go on the Bible app now and type in, oh, well, hey, I'm struggling with love in myself. So now they're going to bring up courses. They're going to bring up verses. They're going to bring up different things that people create to help you with where they were.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, the Bible app, I recommend it.
So how does someone go about finding you on the Bible app and find some of the stuff you've done to help?
CJ Morgan. I have a website. It's CJ Morgan, ITZ, CJ Morgan, Facebook, CJ Morgan, iTunes, CJ Morgan, where one of my songs is God of Miracles. That's on there. I'm fresh. I'm new. Like I say, I rebranded myself. I used to have a singing group, CJ Morgan in Worship. So everything is kind of new doing this solo thing. I'm used to having a group behind me or standing beside me, but God literally took me to a place that, not that I was by myself now, because I know he's always with me, but he had to separate me from some people to really get the best out of me. And that's one thing I always like to let people know, that sometimes you're going to go through separation. You know, the pandemic of life, like literally got isolated from everybody. God isolated me from even my group, even my friends, even family. And it just got me to a place that, hey, I need to quarantine you, because what I am doing, I don't need it to be tainted by anybody. I need my hands to be on you. I need your ears to be literally tuned to my voice. And that's where we got here. It was like, I started hearing more of God. All right, cool. I need to straighten this out in my life. Let me be a better father. How can I be a better father? How can I be a better businessman? How can I be a better husband? And God literally started positioning my mind. All right, cool. What are the things that you are struggling with in your life that literally turn you off to yourself? And it kind of just opens up the door to say, all right, well, hey, I hate this about myself. All right, well, how can I improve this about myself? You know, that one thing that I hate, that one thing that I really despise of, how can I make that better? And that's where this comes in. And like, literally, it's just steps to say, I see me. This is where I want to be. This is what I started with. You know, I don't know why I'm here. I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't know, am I supposed to be over here? Am I supposed to be over here? All right, God, show me how I can literally find out who I am, to be connected with your purpose that you have on my life.
That's amazing. In the book, what was the biggest hurdle you had to face?
Man, the stroke.
I bet.
Because the whole thing with writing, and I don't know if, like, a lot of people can probably, you know, contest to this. After you have a stroke, you're completely different. Some people lose a lot of their capabilities of even retaining knowledge. For me, it was some days getting up, forgetting how to spell words. I know how to say it. I know how to, you know, articulate it in my mind, but when I go to write it on there, nothing coming out. So it was like, oh, that literally was one of the things that made me put it on the back burner. Because, like, who am I writing to? I can't even remember words. I can't even remember, you know, how I really want to say this. And I fought past it. Like, the cell phone really just kind of held me. And once the cell phone got to the point where it wasn't working for me, it was like, you know what? Let me fight past this and let me go back to the pen and the pad. So once I got the pen and the pad, it was like, nothing was stopping me then. The creative part of my mind started running. It's like, all right, hey. So now it's like more books coming.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's like, all right, once this one was complete and we got the proof back that, hey, and I saw it in my hand, it was like, what can I not do with the help of God? So what is stopping me? There's nothing stopping me. There's nothing controlling me. There's nothing that is taking the direction where God has already had me on course going to, where I feel like, well, dang, I'm not worthy enough, or I'm not okay enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not skinny enough. It's just so many different things that will make you literally cloud your head and say, hey, what am I doing? I'm wasting my time. It was like that for me. It's like, you're wasting your time. Like, you had a stroke. You're suffering, with diabetes. It's things like this. How can you help somebody? And God was like, nah, they just need to hear your story. They need to just see the same thing that I took you through. Just like the GPS. Everybody got the GPS on their phones and their car and stuff like that. God knows where he wants to get you. Like, he knows where he wants to take you. You type the address in, and a lot of times we feel like we know everything. So, hey, well, it's traffic ahead. I know a back way. And we wind up going a back way, and we run into this road that's been getting construction on it. And we live in the beautiful city of Houston. And it seems like every road in the city of Houston got construction. But we wind up taking that shortcut that we thought going to get us there faster, and we actually waste time. We spend time on back roads, and God was like, I just need you to go through what I'm trying to get you. Like, all right, this is going to hurt, but we try to take the exit to go around it. This is going to feel bad, but we try to take the exit to go around it. And we wind up spending more time in the area that God did not want us to go to. And it's sad to say some of us never make it back. This was me making it back.
I think that's absolutely beautiful, because you're talking about that in the book, but in the process of writing the book, you had to go through the whole journey of what you're talking about in the book before even finishing it. So I think that's beautiful, because it adds to the story. It adds to, not only are you writing about it, but you experienced it and then you finished it.
Yeah. Oh, man, that was one of the things that me and my wife talked about. I think we would call it pillow talk. Late at night, like, hey, how am I going to do this? When I say even went down to getting everything printed, published and all of this stuff. And it was like, and I love my wife has a amazing wealth of knowledge. Like, I call her Google 2.0. Like, she's research savvy. Me, I'm like, I'm going to go and put my hands on it and learn it. She's going to do the research before she touch stuff. She helped me a lot with doing the research on how we get this done. And that literally took so much pressure off of it. Like, having that support. Like my pastors, oh man, I have some wonderful pastors. Jeremy and Shamika Sanders of Faith Temple Worship Center are awesome pastors. They literally walk with us through it all. They build us up, and having leadership to speak into you helps you create stuff like this. Where you went with years of leadership where really didn't believe in you, really didn't trust you. But when you have someone with trusting you with the eyes of God, they seeing the best in you through the eyes of God. Like, I see what you can do. Just because you got a little flaws here and a little flaws there, having that leadership literally just, it's mind blowing.
That's amazing. So you have a big debut for the book.
Yes.
Where can people pull up?
Oh, man. The location has not been determined yet, but it will be posted. I went back and forth with doing the whole book release thing, and I'm like, hey, that ain't me. But I would love to just have an intimate session and just sit with people and just talk to people and see where they are mentally, see where they are emotionally, concerning where they are in life. I don't ever want it to always just be about me. But yeah, I want to do a whole intimate session to where we just sit down and just talk.
That's amazing. So with everything you've done, your journey, your 14 years, well, is there a specific story or a specific thing that you've done that impacted somebody that you have a story to tell about?
Yes, man. It's so amazing that you even say that, because it just happened yesterday. Many, many years ago, I started out with Texas Department of Criminal Justice as a prison guard, not knowing that I was actually going to enjoy it. I started just being a guard. I wound up promoting to sergeant, and I did that for years. I left and went back in 2017. This is kind of just a tap into a deeper transparency about me. I wound up having a scare with cancer. And I said, well, I'm not going to allow what I'm going through physically to keep me from being able to take care of my family. So I kept on going to work. And so many of the inmates that I would literally just have sometimes just to be walking by, and I would just stop and talk to them. And not knowing that me just stopping and talking to them was helping them go through what they were going through. And unknowing to them that I was dealing with what I was dealing with. Like, literally, I was 30 years old, and the doctor is saying it's a cancerous tumor in your colon. Like, I'm fine as long as others are, okay. So I'm walking through the unit, meeting different men, just being able to minister to them. But just the other day, we was at H&B, and one of the guys stopped me. He was like, man, how have you been? And to see, and it happens to me so much where people just walk up to me and be like, man, I thank you, because you was that guard that prayed for me. You were that guard that, gave me some scriptures to read. You literally did not treat me like half the people did in there. You kept respect for me, even though I was incarcerated. And that is a joyous feeling, knowing that I literally impacted so many people and helped them change their life. Like, I had guys telling me, hey, man, just because you share your story with me, now I'm out here preaching. My Facebook is loaded with guys that got out, and now they're in ministry in some shape, form. Some of them are preaching. Some of them are doing team ministry. Some of them are doing prison ministry now. But just to know that I was a spark down the line, to just get them to where they are now, like, it's mind blowing. Knowing that my little self, I don't matter, but in that season of that life, they needed somebody. I matter. And they remember what I told them. They remember what I prayed for them. And this is what they're doing now.
That's absolutely amazing. So, all right, cultivators, we're about to wrap it up. And the last thing we like to do here at Community Cultivation Network, we're all about cultivating the community.
Yes.
So is there anything you want to say to your community and our community as well?
Always be the best you can possibly be. Always literally find reasons to believe in yourself again. Don't throw yourself away. I like to let people know. I don't know if y'all know anything about it, but there's a store in Houston. They sell damaged canned goods. It's like a resale grocery store type thing, where they send all the damaged boxes and stuff like that. Always remember that you may have damage on the outside, but the contents inside of you are always good. You still have value, whether you look this way or you went through this. You still have so much value. So I like to leave that with the community. You have value no matter what you've been through, no matter what you're going to go through. Always remember you are somebody, and God loves you just the way you are.
Amen to that. All right, cultivators, I hope y'all take that in. See the greatness in yourself. We out. Peace.